I want you to think about the moment you became a parent. Maybe it was planned, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it happened in a hospital room with flowers and celebration. Maybe it happened quietly, unexpectedly, in a moment that changed everything before you even had time to prepare. For me, it happened at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday in February. My sister called me from a number I didn't recognize. Her voice was the kind of calm that comes after something has already broken. Flat, careful, like someone reading from a script they wrote to survive. "I can't do this," she said. "I need you to take him." Him was my nephew, Noah, 4 months old, sleeping in a car seat in my sister's apartment. While she stood in the kitchen having the conversation that would change both our lives completely. My name is Margaret. I was 31 years old that night. I had a small apartment, a job I loved, a life that was entirely my own, carefully constructed, deliberately manageable. I had never planned to be a mother, not because I didn't want children, but because I had made peace, slowly and honestly, with the possibility that it might not happen for me. And then my phone rang at 2 a.m. I drove to my sister's apartment in 20 minutes. I carried Noah to my car in his car seat, his small face completely peaceful in the way that only sleeping babies manage, entirely unaware that the world was rearranging itself around him. I buckled him in. I drove home. I sat in my parking lot for 15 minutes with my hands on the steering wheel. And then I took him inside. That was the beginning. If you have ever loved someone else's child as completely as your own, this story is for you. Subscribe to this channel right now, because what I am about to tell you will stay with you for a long time. The early months were the hardest thing I have ever done. I want to be honest about that, because stories about unexpected parenthood sometimes skip this part. The part where you are completely exhausted, and completely terrified, and completely in love, all at the same time, and you cannot tell where one feeling ends and the others begin. I learned everything. How to read his hunger cries from his tired cries. Which position helped when he had gas. The exact temperature he liked his milk. The way he needed the room to be completely dark to fall into deep sleep, but completely silent was too much. He needed the soft sound of the television on low. I learned him. Every particular, specific, unrepeatable thing about him. By the time Noah was 1 year old, I had legally become his guardian. My sister had signed the paperwork without resistance. She was struggling with things I will not share here because they are hers to share, not mine. I got him health insurance. I enrolled him in daycare. I took him to every appointment, every checkup, every small milestone that parents mark with photographs and quiet pride. By the time Noah was 3, he called me Mama. Not because I told him to, because that is what I was. By the time he was 5, he had forgotten, in the particular, merciful way that small children forget, that there had ever been any other arrangement. I was his mother. Our apartment was his home. Our life was his life. I did not think about my sister often. She had moved away. We had occasional, careful contact, birthday messages, holiday calls. She was doing better, I knew. Building something, getting stable. I was glad for her. Genuinely. And I did not think about what getting stable might eventually mean for us. I should have thought about it. Noah was 8 years old when my sister called. Her voice was different this time. Not the flat, careful voice of someone surviving. Something steadier. Something that had rebuilt itself over years and was now, carefully and completely, asking for something back. "I want to be his mother," she said. "I'm ready now. I've been ready for 2 years and I needed to be sure before I called you." "I'm sure." I sat down on the kitchen floor. The same kitchen floor where I had learned to make his favorite meals. Where he had sat on the counter watching me cook and asking the particular, relentless questions of an 8-year-old who wants to understand everything. "He calls me Mama," I said. "I know," she said. "And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything that put you both here. But he's my son, Margaret, and I want him back. The legal process that followed was the worst 18 months of my life. My sister had rights. Of course she had rights. She was his biological mother. She was stable. She had rebuilt her life with documented evidence and professional support and genuine love for a child she had never stopped thinking about. And I had 8 years. 8 years of 2 a.m.s and first days of school and stomach. Bugs and homework and the particular, irreplaceable knowledge of exactly who Noah was. The court had to weigh those two things against each other. I will not tell you it was fair. I will tell you it was legal. If you are still with me, if your heart is in your throat, right now, please share this story. Someone you know needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel, because this is the kind of story that reminds us what love actually costs. The judge's decision came on a Wednesday morning in March. I sat in that courtroom and looked at my sister across the aisle. This woman I had known my entire life, who I loved, who I was furious with, who I understood, who I could not forgive and could not stop loving at the same time. And I waited. The judge spoke for a long time, about stability, about biological connection, about the documented progress my sister had made, about the importance of a child knowing his origins, and then about the 8 years, about continuity, about what it means to be the person who shows up at 2 a.m. and never leaves. The decision was a transition plan, not an immediate transfer, not a clean break, a careful, structured, months-long transition, with family therapy, with Noah's needs at the center, with both of us present and involved and required to figure out, together, how to give one child 2 mothers instead of asking him to choose. It was not what either of us had asked for. It was, I came to understand slowly, the right answer. Noah is 12 now. He lives primarily with my sister, who is genuinely and completely a good mother, who has never once tried to erase the 8 years, who calls me on his behalf when he is struggling and needs someone who knew him before he knew himself. He calls her mom. He calls me Aunt Margaret, and sometimes us on the phone. In the quiet voice he uses for things that matter, he calls me his first mom. I cried the first time he said it, in the bathroom with the door closed so he wouldn't hear. Then I came out and helped him with his math homework, because that is what mothers do, even the ones who are no longer called mama, even the ones who love someone so completely that they learn to let go, not because the love ended, but because love, at its deepest, sometimes looks like releasing your grip and trusting that what you built together is strong enough to hold. Here is what 8 years and a courtroom and a phone call at 2 a.m. taught me. Family is not only biology, and it is not only choice. It is the accumulation of ordinary moments, the meals and the homework and the sick days and the 2 a.m.s, that build something so real it cannot be undone, even when everything changes. My sister came back after 8 years, and I had to learn the hardest thing I have ever learned. That loving someone completely sometimes means sharing them, and that what Noah carries from those 8 years, every meal, every story, every ordinary Tuesday, will be with him forever, whether he calls me mama or not. If this story moved you, if it opened something, please share it. Right now with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel. Leave a comment and tell me, have you ever loved someone so much that letting go was the most loving thing you could do?